last episode, Jacob, had dealt with Laban, and Laban's on his way back to Haran. But now the greater issue is dealing with Esau, because Esau wanted to kill him 20 years ago, and he has no idea what Esau thinks today. Genesis 32, 3-6. Then Jacob sent messengers before him to his brother Esau in the land of Seir, the country of Edom. He also commanded them, saying, Thus you shall say to my lord Esau, Thus says your servant Jacob, I have sojourned with Laban and stayed until now. I have oxen and donkeys and flocks and male and female servants, and I have sent to tell my lord that I may find favor in your sight. The messengers returned to Jacob, saying, We came to your brother Esau, and furthermore, he's coming to meet you, and 400 men are with him. Jacob has just reconciled with Laban, and now he wants to reconcile with Esau. Jacob told his servants to announce to Esau that he is Esau's servant. And Jacob lets Esau know that he has wealth. It doesn't need anything from Esau. Reconciliation is important to God, and it should be important to all of us. In Matthew 5:23 and 24, it says, Therefore, if you are presenting your offering at the altar, and there remember that your brother has something against you, leave your offering there before the altar and go. First be reconciled to your brother, and then come and present your offering. Jacob doesn't get the reply he was hoping for. Esau is coming with 400 men. He's ready to go and be reconciled to his brother before making his offering at the altar, but he's a little bit terrified. Why is he bringing 400 men with him? In Genesis 32, 7-12, it says, Then Jacob was greatly afraid and distressed, and he divided the people who were with him, and the flocks and the herds and the camels, into 2 companies. For he said, If Esau comes to the one company and attacks it, then the company which is left will escape. Jacob said, O God, my father Abraham, and God of my father Isaac, O Lord, who said to me, Return to your country and to your relatives, and I will prosper you. I am unworthy of all the loving kindness and all the faithfulness which you have shown to your servant, for with my staff only I crossed this Jordan, and now I have become 2 companies. Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, that he will come and attack me, and the mothers with the children. For you said, I will surely prosper you, and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be numbered. Well, the sins of Jacob's past are catching up to him and causing him to fear Esau. Rebekah had told Jacob to stay away until she sent for him. In Genesis 27:45, it says, Until your brother's anger against you subsides and he forgets what you did to him, then I will send and get you from there. Why should I be bereaved of you both in one day? Well, Rebekah never sent for Jacob, and Jacob had no knowledge that she'd passed away. Many things in a believer's past can cripple us from being effective for God. Jacob's past is crippling him right now in this moment, making him hard to believe. Well, God's going to make me as the sands of the sea, and my brother Esau, he's got 400 men coming, going to wipe us out. I really hope not, but I want to be prepared. The Apostle Paul, before he was born again, he was attacking Christians and just disrupting the Jewish community, and when he finally got saved, it made it really difficult for him to effectively minister there. I'm sure you imagine you're seeing this person come in and they're going to tell you all about Jesus, and about 6 months ago or a year ago, they put your parents in prison. Your brother was executed by his hand, and now you're going to sit and listen to him tell you about Jesus. Well, God didn't give up there. he called Paul to minister to the Gentile nations. They weren't concerned with what Paul was doing in Israel. So no matter what our past is, God has a plan to use us for his glory. And he used Paul in a mighty way, ministering to the Gentile nations, starting churches all over. Jacob just had an experience seeing the angels of God, and maybe he's already forgot that he's not alone. And he's using his own wisdom to make 2 camps, just as a precautionary method. When we allow fear to control us, we lose the wisdom of God. It's a time to stand bold and say, God, you told me to come here. You brought me here. You've got angels with me. I'm not afraid. I'm going to face Esau with his 400 men. And we can just look at the prayer that Jacob was praying, and we can see that it's guided by his fear of Esau. Don't get me wrong. It's better to pray. If you're afraid and you've got fears, pray. Seek the Lord. How should I handle this? And Jacob reminds God that, God, you told me to come here. You told me to return to my kindred. And if Esau kills me, you can't keep your promise. So how often do we remind God that it's he who saved us and keeps us? Well, I've been guilty there. I have reminded God, Lord, you saved me. You brought me out of darkness into your light. Don't let me fall back into darkness. Don't let that snare of the devil capture me. Don't let me be entrapped in the things of this world. Lord, you saved me. It's you that keeps me. It's you that watches over me. And we overcome our fears through these types of prayers. So Jacob's acknowledging that he's not worthy to receive anything that God has given him. And he asked God to deliver him from the wrath of Esau. By the end of the prayer, faith is rising. That's why we reach out to the Lord. If you want your faith to rise, seek the Lord. In verse 12 it said, For you said, I will surely prosper you and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be numbered. Oh God, you're going to do that. I believe it. And I'm going to put my trust in you. Praying encourages us in the Lord. Genesis 32:13-23. Jacob stayed where he was for the night. Then he selected these gifts from his possessions to present to his brother Esau. 200 female goats, 20 male goats, 200 ewes, 20 rams, 30 female camels and their young, 40 cows, 10 bulls, 20 female donkeys, and 10 male donkeys. He divided these animals into herds and assigned each to different servants. Then he told his servants, Go ahead of me with the animals, but keep some distance between the herds. He gave these instructions to the men leading the first group. When my brother Esau meets you, he will ask, Whose servants are you? Where are you going? Who owns these animals? You must reply, They belong to your servant Jacob, but they are a gift for his master Esau. Look, he is coming right behind us. Jacob gave the same instructions to the second and third herdsmen and to all who followed behind the herds. You must say the same thing to Esau when you meet him, and be sure to say, Look, your servant Jacob is right behind us. Jacob thought, I will try to appease him by sending these gifts ahead of me. When I see him in person, perhaps he will be friendly to me. So the gifts were sent on ahead while Jacob himself spent that night in the camp. During the night, Jacob got up and took his 2 wives, his 2 servant wives, and his 11 sons and crossed the Jabbok River with them. After taking them to the other side, he sent over all his possessions. Well, we can see that Jacob is plainly looking for reconciliation between him and Esau. Jacob has no idea of the financial situation of Esau, but if he's got 400 men coming with him, he's not poor. Jacob wants to compensate Esau for the blessing that he had unjustly taken from him. Jacob is humble enough to call Esau Lord and call himself servant. Jacob wants to have peace with Esau. Jacob wants his forgiveness. Jacob's trusting God as he prayed for deliverance, while he also making efforts to ensure there's going to be reconciliation. Verse 11, he said, Deliver me, I pray, from the hand of my brother, from the hand of Esau, for I fear him, that he will come and attack me, and the mothers and the children. For you said, I will surely prosper you, and make your descendants as the sand of the sea, which is too great to be numbered. He knows his only hope is in the Lord. His only hope to stave off Esau is in God. And that's where he's gone. Genesis 32:24-26. Then Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. When he saw that he had not prevailed against him, he touched the socket of his thigh, so the socket of Jacob's thigh was dislocated while he wrestled with him. Then he said, Let me go, for the dawn is breaking. But he said, I will not let you go unless you bless me. Some man has come to Jacob and is wrestling with him, and Jacob may not have known who it was at first, but he comes to know that he is wrestling with God because he wants a blessing from him. You don't ask a blessing from somebody that can't give it to you. Sometimes we forget that it's not us who go to God, but it's God who comes to us. This man came to Jacob and started wrestling with him. Just like Jesus came to us, and he asked us to respond to his call. When this man came to Jacob, he wanted Jacob to wrestle with him. In Matthew 11:28 it says, Come to me, all you who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. See, we come to him because he came to us first and gave us a call, and then we come to him. Many times God comes to us and deals with us when we're in a kind of a lonely spot or a private spot. Daniel had visitors when he was alone. Job repented when he was alone. Jesus expounded God's word to the disciples when they were alone. God wants a personal relationship with us, and many times he'll come and deal with us when we're alone. So why is it that God was not prevailing against Jacob? We know that nobody's stronger than God. Nobody can defeat him. But it said he wasn't prevailing with Jacob. So God's not interested in having a wrestling match with Jacob, but God's wanting Jacob to submit to him. Jacob would not give in. So God is supernaturally dislocating the socket in Jacob's thigh. Now Jacob's not going to let him go. This supernatural event softened the heart of Jacob. Instead of wrestling with him, he's hanging on to it. Hosea 12:3-5, it says, In the womb he took his brother by the heel, and in his maturity he contended with God. Yes, he wrestled with the angel and prevailed. He wept and sought his favor. He found him at Bethel, and there he spoke with us. Even the Lord, the God of hosts. The Lord is his name. Jacob's not commanding God to give him a blessing, but he's clinging to God until he gets a blessing. Genesis 32:27. So he said to him, What is your name? And he said, Jacob. And he said, Your name shall no longer be Jacob, but Israel. For you have striven with God and with men, and have prevailed. Then Jacob asked him and said, Please tell me your name. But he said, Why is it that you ask my name? And he blessed him there. So Jacob named the place Peniel, for he said, I have seen God face to face, yet my life has been preserved. God blesses Jacob by changing his name. Jacob meant heel holder or supplanter. A supplanter is one who takes the place of another by force, by scheming or strategy. Not a good name to have. But Israel means God prevails. Jacob was cunning and manipulative, but now God has transformed him into being submissive to his plan for his life. God has changed our names too. Once we were children of wrath, and now we are children of God. Once we were lost, and now we are found. Once we were sinners, and by the grace of God, we've become saints. 1 Corinthians 15:57 says, But thanks be to God who gives us the victory through our Lord Jesus Christ. Jacob's prevailed with men because God was with him. Jacob's prevailing with God because he clung to him till he got a blessing. Jacob's no longer prevailing by his scheming or his strategies. God couldn't bless Jacob as long as he was striving with God. Jacob got the blessing when he was clinging to God. I can't say that enough. Unbelief or self-will never gets us a blessing from God. Psalm 51:17. The sacrifices of God are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart, O God, you will not despise. Jacob's heart was broken. He was contrite. He wanted a blessing from God. Jacob wants a confirmation, and he asks God, who is he? God is not going to puff up Jacob by telling him his name. Jacob already knows who he's talking to, for he said he had seen God face to face and lived. But he wanted to know his name. Little extra present there. God wouldn't let him have it. Genesis 32, starting with verse 31. Now the sun rose upon him just as he crossed over Peniel, and he was limping on his thigh. Therefore, to this day, the sons of Israel do not eat the sinew of the hip, which is in the socket of the thigh, because he touched the socket of Jacob's thigh in the sinew of the hip. The limp Jacob had would be a memorial from this experience for the rest of his life. He's never going to forget wrestling with God. He's got proof in his hip. All of Israel must have heard of this experience, because they weren't going to eat the sinew. Israel doesn't eat the sinew of the hip of any animal in remembrance of this. It's not a commandment of God, but it's a tradition of Israel. Many times God gives us a thorn in the flesh that we might remember and rely on his grace. The Apostle Paul, he not only had a thorn in his flesh, but he had a lot of scars on his body from all the people that beat him. In Galatians 6:17, it says, from now on, let no one cause trouble for me, for I bear on my body the brand marks of Jesus. When he looked at the brand marks, the scars, he just saw Jesus. James 4:10, humble yourself in the sight of the Lord, and he will lift you up. I want to be lifted up, don't you? Let's humble ourselves in the sight of the Lord and get lifted up by God.